Hey everyone, this is Danny from Power to the Panel, and today we're going to talk about how we created our monthly comics magazine, Power Metal. If you didn't catch the last video, I would recommend you go check that out where we walk through Power Metal issue 1 and talk a little bit about what Power Metal is. Today we're going to talk about how we put together this magazine, how we went from a concept and then brought that into reality. And I figured it would be fun to have one of our issues as an example as we walk through this. And we're going to be looking at the incredible issue number 3 with this beautiful cover by Jenna Jewell. So Power Metal started as a concept. We wanted to help bring real, authentic comics to readers. Something that we thought was becoming more and more of a challenge in this day and age. Accessibility to comic stores is not always available to people. Within those stores, the content coming from certain publishers also isn't always speaking to what we felt the audience out there was looking for. And we wanted to bring together unique voices from different cartoonists to just show the world what comics can be. So the idea for Power Metal was focused on free to read, easily accessible to everyone, and focus on the comics, showcase the power of the comics. We also wanted to collect everyone's works together. It's very difficult to make your own comic book, so we figured strength in numbers. Everyone involved is working on their own comics. Why wait 3 to 6 months to have your issue complete and available to your readers? Why not release the progress you have each month, and we collect those together to give something for readers to look forward to. And if they like the book, they like the series that you're personally working on, they can now follow you as an artist and go pick up your books after they've read the initial pages in the magazine. So that was the idea. And, this isn't really a completely new idea. We looked at different industries around the world and how they ran their comic books and picked and chose the things that we thought made sense. A lot of this is heavily inspired by the Japanese comics and manga industry and what they do with their weekly releases of comics magazines by each publisher, where you can just pick up a single magazine that is from a certain publisher geared towards a certain style of comics, and you pick that up every week and you read the latest chapters of all of your favorite comic stories. That was kind of the idea that we had here. This was not meant to be perfectly put together. This was not meant to be a beautifully collected edition. This is just purely to let readers have access to cool, fun comics. Looking at the cover here, a big part of this was the masthead, the logo. We wanted it to have a big impact. We wanted it to be memorable, to stand out, but also something that we could play around with and alternate slightly with the color palette from issue to issue when it made sense, depending on the cover art that we were showcasing. We're going to have a completely separate video with the designer of that logo, James Easterly, coming real soon, where we'll walk through that design process of how he created that logo and some of his other work. But the logo was a huge part. That was actually the first thing that we put together before anything else was that logo. From there, everything started to slowly fall into place. We decided we wanted to showcase an artist every month on the cover, and it was important to us that the cover art not be rooted in what people might think of traditional comics art. This was a chance for whoever was working on that month's cover to just showcase their personality, their ability. We wanted them to bring to the table whatever they felt like drawing or painting or putting together at that moment in time. So when we spoke to different artists, in this case Jenna Jewell, who did the cover for issue number 3, we basically said, hey, we love the way that you create your art. You bring to the table what you think would make a perfect representation of yourself in a single cover. And this was the incredible cover that she put together. And based on that month's artist, we then have the tagline that goes alongside the art that they put together. Now the tagline, as you can see on this particular issue, Comics for the Dreamers, again, we wanted to add these different motifs to play along with that cover artist's style and the work that they brought together for that particular issue. So that tagline, it's less about Power Metal, the magazine, and more about the artist of that particular issue. In this case, Jenna with her cartoony and cutesy art style, but also this dreamlike quality. We had to go with Comics for the Dreamers, and we picked the appropriate font based on that concept as well to match the aesthetic and to match the theme. And as I mentioned, with the masthead and the logo, we pick and choose when appropriate to adjust the color palette on that so that it reflects the art style on the cover as well. But this is where we really want to showcase the comics in that issue as well as the non-comics content. So we again studied different magazines that did this before to find the balance between simplicity, clarity, design, without going overboard on the design. The idea again being, with Power Metal, we want you to focus on the comics before anything else, the comics and the art. So quick and easy, but impactful. A lot of this was pulled from, again, other magazines, Pulp Magazine, Young Magazine, that already established this idea of a monthly comics publication. So we definitely borrowed from some of the best in the industry that did that. So cover artist spotlight. Just like I was talking about before, it is super important to us to showcase the art and the comics. So whoever's on the cover for that month, we run an interview with them, and that's the first thing you see before you dive into the comics. Or I should say it's the last thing you see before you dive into the comics. We really want to give a chance for our artists to share, what brought them into art, what brought them into comics, what do comics mean to them. And when you go through the different issues of Power Metal, you'll see that they all have very unique and different backgrounds. They're not all reading the same stuff. They're not all reading Marvel and DC. They're not all reading manga. Some of them aren't even reading comics at all in a conventional way. And that's totally fine, because the concept that we want to push is that comics can be anything. Anything from a words and pictures perspective, or from the visual sequential medium, can represent comics. And with our artists and the diversity that they bring in terms of their backgrounds, in terms of their art style, that really helps us showcase this. So having a chance to hear from them before you dive into the comic pages was, again, by design. We didn't want to shove this all the way in the back where nobody looks at it, or sandwich it in the middle. It's the first thing you kind of see once you get past the credits, and then it perfectly transitions into the comics that month. So just like with how we start the magazine, we try to bookend with a bit of a similar structure. This is again to kind of help the reader, understand, okay, the comics are now over. That's the bulk of the book, but, sandwiched between a bit of an opening interview and sketch, and then same kind of idea at the end. A pinup or an art piece, again, playing into whatever the tagline or the theme of that month is. In this case, comics for the dreamers. We got the Dream On Acid tab. And just like we start off with a cover artist spotlight, we always end off with a letter from the editor, just to talk about something cool, often related to the world of comics as well, or whatever just happens to be going on in the world of the editor for that particular month. We wrap it up with a reflection of all the artists in that particular issue and where you can find more of their work. This is kind of the key takeaway we want you to leave with. When you get to the end of the magazine, you've read through all the comics, you've consumed that experience, now you want to maybe learn about more work from whoever was working on your favorite series. Great, this is where you can go. Last page of the book, easy to find. Everybody that worked on this issue is listed here with their social links, so you can go find out more about the work that they do and go support your favorite artists. And again, a quick link to get to powertothepanel.com so you can read other issues of Power Metal and see other books that we provide as well. So I hope this helped you kind of understand why we designed the magazine the way in which we did, a little bit about how we constructed the flow of the magazine and where we pulled some of those ideas together. If you are here as a pure reader, hopefully this gave you a bit of insight into what goes into your favorite issues of these comics each month. If you are an artist or a creator yourself, hopefully there's some takeaways from here that you can learn and put towards your own art. And if you have any thoughts, suggestions on things you would like to see from Power Metal and from Power to the Panel with regards to our monthly magazine and the comics that we put together, please let us know in the comments. We have a lot more cool videos coming down the line where we're going to be showcasing and spotlighting all the people that are involved in this magazine, highlighting some of the series from this magazine. So there's a lot more to come, but we'd love to hear more from our readers. Thank you all, and stay tuned. Till next time.